I'm going to call the annual town meeting of the town of Belmont for 2026 back to order on June 3rd, 2026. I'm Adam Dash, the moderator. If everyone could take their seats so we could get underway. We have legislating to do this evening. First order of business will be to pledge allegiance. If everyone could please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Now I'm going to turn it over to our town clerk, Eleanor Bryan Cushman, for the return of the warrant.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I, Eleanor Bryan Cushman, Town Clerk, do hereby certify that I gave notice of the adjourned session of the annual town meeting held Monday, June 1, 2026, by posting an attested copy of the notice of the adjournment on the Town Clerk's official bulletin board in the Town Hall, on the town website, and at least 5 other places in town, giving notice that the annual town meeting had not been completed and had been adjourned to meet again Wednesday, June 3, 2026, by hybrid means, remote access and in-person participation, beginning at 7 p.m., briefly describing the business to be acted upon, all in accordance with the Representative Town Meeting Acts of 1926 as amended, and Section 30-110C of the General Bylaws of the town. For those of you who've been here for a few nights, now's the time to play your game or just tune out for a minute or two. For those of you who are new, please tune in just because I'll be doing my usual reading of the methods of voting and participation tonight. And I forgive you if you're looking down or using your screens. That's no problem for me. So today, June 3rd, 2026 at 2:25 p.m., each town meeting member was sent an email from town clerk at belmont-ma.gov email describing the process we'll be providing and we'll be providing the new access information tonight for tonight's annual town meeting and special town meeting. I recommend that you keep that email close by. In essence, this is an in-person town meeting and a remote town meeting at the same time. We do our best to merge them together. Everyone in the middle and high school auditorium and everyone joining remotely will be voting using our electronic voting app, Point Solutions, provided by Echo 360. To cast votes, each town meeting member must log into their individual Point Solutions secure site using their personal password and username, authorized by the town clerk's office, and then join and enter the session ID. The session ID was provided only in the June 3rd email for town meeting members. It will not be announced and it will not be posted anywhere. Town meeting members should already be logged into their personal Point Solutions account by the time the session of town meeting is called to order by our moderator. If you are using Wi-Fi tonight in the auditorium, please join BPS guest. You'll know that you've successfully logged in when your device displays welcome in your first name. If you only see welcome, but not your first name also, you are not logged in and your votes will not count tonight. So please log in and try again. Once you see welcome in your first name, enter the session ID provided in the June 3rd email, and it is important to keep your Point Solutions account current from going to sleep by tapping on the screen occasionally with your app open. We ask the town meeting members sign in only using one device on their Point Solutions account. So please log out before you sign in to a different device if you're running from room to room, for example, at home. When the moderator calls for a vote and opens voting, your Point Solutions voting app will display a miniature version of the big screen that's behind me. At that time, you'll press 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for abstain as soon as you can. Your vote as received will be confirmed by display on your own voting device with the bubble next to your choice filled in with a raspberry color. That message confirms the vote has been received from you. After confirming on your personal device, then you should scan the list of town meeting member roster for your name that will display on the screen. The box with your name will have turned from gray to turquoise on that roster. Once you've located your name on that voting roster, it's going to appear in the exact same position each time we take a vote. So just pay attention where that is. And we will be testing shortly, so do take note. Please be certain to vote only during the time that the moderator has declared that voting is open. Once the moderator has closed voting, no additional electronic votes will be accepted. For this hybrid town meeting, we will not use a timer for voting. Instead, we will rely on the judgment of the moderator to determine when to close voting, giving all of us a 10-second warning. For those town meeting members who are not logged into the Zoom or here in the auditorium, but actually watching just on Belmont Media, we will be watching here to make sure that we account for any delay between the real time here in the auditorium and the broadcast when voting is occurring. In the event that you are logged in to your Point Solutions account when the moderator opens and you cast your vote and your device does not display a confirmation of your vote, and your vote behind me on that roster does not turn turquoise, you may cast an emergency vote first, and then you should solve that technical problem. If you're in the auditorium, please make your way to a microphone. And if you are not in the auditorium and you're on Zoom, you just raise your Zoom hand and wait for the moderator to call on you. If you are in the auditorium and you need special accessibility assistance, please remain in your seat. Just raise your hand and we'll come take a microphone directly to you. When called upon by the moderator, of course, state your name and your precinct. The moderator will ask you to state your vote, yes, no, or abstain. If an electronic vote has already been received for you, your voice vote will not be added to the final count. It is important that, it is possible your voting device has lost connection or timed out. Before you call the IT support number, please fully close out Point Solutions, then reopen and log in. If necessary, power it off and restart your device. If it still doesn't work, that's the time that you call the IT support number that I included in my email today, or go out to the help table in the lobby. A town meeting member on the Zoom whose computer does not have a microphone may continue to make comments or ask questions by typing the comment or question into our Q&A at the bottom of the screen. You may not use Q&A to cast a vote, and you may not use it to chat amongst members. A member of the town meeting team will represent you by joining the line on your behalf by raising their Zoom hand, and when called upon by the moderator, they'll announce your name and ask your question for you. Likewise, a person who has a legal point of order may go to a microphone or stand in place and simply announce point of order and then make their way to one of the microphones here in the auditorium to be recognized by the moderator. Those who are on Zoom should type only the words point of order into the Q&A, and a member of the town meeting team will immediately call it to the attention of the moderator. If there is already a point of order underway, we will ask that you wait until the moderator dispenses with that before they will call upon you. And now we will test our devices. So Matt, if you would be so kind. Okay, so you're clicking or tap on your answer, and please watch once the voting opens and the grid starts to populate. You will watch for your device, make sure that on your display that a raspberry bubble appears, and then watch the scroll of names to see if your box turns turquoise with your name. You may change your vote at any time during the period voting is open by just tapping a different number, but please don't repeatedly tap on the same number because you will notice that you are undoing and removing your vote and canceling it. So make sure that there is a confirmation of your vote. There's no need to announce tonight that you are having a problem, but if you are having difficulty with your electronic voting, you please make sure that if you're in the auditorium, go on out to the lobby and otherwise use the IT number. Lastly, during the town meeting, we will be keeping you apprised as to how many people are in line in the auditorium and on Zoom with raised hands and the names of the first 3 people in line as best we can. When you hear your name, please accept the host's invitation to unmute, state your name and your precinct. And now it is my presumption that perhaps we don't have any town meeting members who also need to take the oath of office. Everyone here has already taken it. If not, please just raise your hand. Great. So now, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen. Okay, before we get underway, I just want to go over the plan for this evening and a few preliminaries. I'm assuming you saw my email from yesterday. We are going to be doing, I guess politely, what I would call some procedural rigmarole that we have to do to go through by shuffling the order of the articles and maneuvering the special town meeting tonight, which we are going to open and then immediately close and then move. So I will obviously walk you all through that. Once we get there, I want to thank member Daniel Eldridge, who is our Beagle counter for this evening, back in the corner. Thank you for taking on that awesome responsibility this evening. I would like to admit to the floor Ralph Jones, and we'd like to talk about the, I want to recognize that I'm told it is the birthday of our library director, Peter Strazzero. So we'd like to thank him. We'd like to thank him for spending that with us. So we are touched. So right now we have 104 people on Zoom, just for the record. So the order of the articles, Mr. Haskell. So I'm going to I move that we change the order of the articles to be as shown on the screen, being the order of 1, 34, 30, 23, 25, 36, 24, 31, 38. Can I have a second? I'd like to take unanimous consent of that. Seeing no opposition, that has been approved. The only point of doing this was to swap, since we're swapping special town meeting Article 3 out tonight, we're moving Article 25 from the annual in so we can use the time while we're here. So I appreciate that. Thank you. So at this point, I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving on to Article 1. Mr. Yates.
Move that Article 1 be taken from the table.
Do I have a second? All in favor? I'll say, well, so you need to take unanimous consent. Seeing no opposition, that's been approved. Mr. Yates.
Thank you. So the following is a proclamation from the Town of Belmont Select Board. Whereas the Town of Belmont is strengthened by residents who dedicate themselves to public service and the betterment of the community. And whereas Ralph Jones demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to civic engagement through decades of service across numerous town boards and committees, contributing his time, expertise, and leadership to Belmont's governance and long-term planning. And whereas Mr. Jones served with distinction as a member of the Belmont Select Board from 2002 to 2008, helping guide the town through important policy, financial, and operational decisions critical to maintaining effective and responsive local government. And whereas he played a vital role in a wide range of town initiatives, including his contribution to the school committee, municipal light board, community preservation committee, government structure review committee, and numerous other committees supporting town leadership, infrastructure planning, and strategic initiatives. And whereas he extended to key community efforts such as the Vision 21 Implementation Committee, Belmont Media Center Board of Directors, Age-Friendly Action Committee, and multiple town administrator and fire chief screening committees, reflecting his dedication to public service. And whereas the Town of Belmont wishes to formally recognize and express its deep appreciation for Ralph Jones's many years of service and his lasting contributions to the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Select Board of the Town of Belmont does hereby extend its sincere appreciation to Ralph Jones for his exemplary service and unwavering commitment to the Town of Belmont. Signed by the Select Board this June 3rd, 2026 by Chair Matt Taylor, Vice Chair Taylor Yates, and Member Carol Berberian.
It is my pleasure to say, Mr. Jones, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I want to thank the Select Board for this proclamation and for the opportunity to speak one final time here at town meeting. My 37 years of service in Belmont would not be possible tonight without the help and advice of many, many people in the audience tonight and in other committees that have been held over the years. Tonight, there are too many of you to name individually, but rest assured that I learned from and took advice from a number of people, and that made my years very helpful. I also want to recognize one person, I guess, my individual, Anne Marie Mahoney. Before I was elected or appointed to anything, I was living on Golden Street, and Anne Marie Mahoney and I organized a group to try to solve the traffic problem on Golden Street. We failed, and I moved away. But Anne Marie continues to push that boulder up the hill and is actively working for it still. So thank you. My message tonight is really quite simple. Town meeting members, I think, should be very proud of your service. Town meeting members are important to the success of our town, and town meetings in New England are really part of the foundation of American democracy. Tocqueville recognized this when he wrote Democracy in America. This is a particularly important time to consider this. Our national politics are being torn apart by partisan division. Last week, I attended a lecture by a former dean of the Harvard Law School, and she stated that the virtue of reciprocity was gone from our national government. Reciprocity meaning the process by which we have mutual support that builds trust and social bonds. And I say that reciprocity is still alive and well in local government. This is a nonpartisan town meeting. That means you may disagree with somebody over a particular warrant article. You may argue vehemently with that person about the article. But the longer you serve in town meeting, the more you know and understand that disagreements are not permanent. And you understand another important fact. All members, regardless of what their policy views, are giving their time and effort for the same reason: a commitment to what is best for the town and the inhabitants of Belmont. And I think that creates reciprocity, which is a foundation for democracy. So I salute you all, and I hope you will all continue to serve in town meeting. Thank you.
Well, thank you for those inspirational words, Ralph. You're always a pleasure to have in the room. Next up, under Article 1, we're going to have a report from Claire Colburn, giving an update from the Library Building Committee.
Good evening. My name is Claire Colburn. I'm the chair of the Belmont Library Committee. And I wanted to give you an update. I get asked this question a lot. In fact, I got asked it just an hour ago. Aren't you done? The building is open, right? And the answer is almost. We're close. There is a little bit of work to finish. We did some last week when the building was closed, and we've got a little bit more scheduled for this coming week, the holiday June 13th, because we can get that work done while the building is scheduled to be closed anyway. The green roof was installed last week, so I welcome you to go check that out. That's the first one in Belmont. It looks pretty cool. And we have the completion of the Golden Bowl, which is actually the last remaining item for our certificate of occupancy. Now, this should not be concerning to anyone that we have a temporary certificate of occupancy. For anyone who needs to hear this information, I tell you, you should maybe run from any house plant or garden that you come into contact with, because it's not a good idea to plant grass in December in New England. So that's why we are where we are here, to be getting that certificate of occupancy this month. That will finalize that. Some of the remaining items are more about adjusting and responding to how the building is used, because you just can't predict that entirely. So it's taking those opportunities to make those modifications. The town will be providing a crosswalk over the summer, which will help facilitate safety crossing. And then I think, you know, it comes as no surprise to anybody that we've always had limited parking spaces, right? That the site is very tight. And so we're working to make the parking as efficient as possible. So we'll be making a couple of those parking spaces be 15-minute sort of drop off, run in kind of spaces. So just trying to work with what we have and make it even better. So the library has been incredibly well used in the few months that it's been open, and that's by all ages. We've even made some converts out of a few people, I've heard. So just how well is it being used? Books in Bloom had their annual event, and it was double the attendance that it has been previously, ever before. We had, I heard, over 800 people playing mini golf in the library. This is a sanctioned event. So, you know, think about that, almost 1,000 people. And we consistently have over 20,000 people a month visit the library. So, yeah. In the old library, the number of circulating items, like the record for that was 58,000 items. In February, a short month, a cold month, underutilized library month, that number was 60,000. Well, there's more. In March, that was shattered, that record, to be 75,000 items, okay? So just think about that. All the items were in the library at the opening, right? They weren't in circulation at that time. So that's how fast everything went into circulation. And good thing, because we didn't build the building for all those items. They have to be in circulation, but now we've got some more space, Peter. So, we're looking forward to seeing what the April numbers are going to bring. And I think one of the reasons why there's been so much attendance and interest in the library, aside from the fact that it's just a really great design and you know, based on community support, is also the amenities there by our partners, right? So having Belmont Media in this space, having the Historical Society, the Friends of the Library bookstore being able to be used and utilized at all times has been great. And I think another thing is that people are starting to discover now with the warmer weather is the reading porch, the amphitheater out back, the ADA compliant path that now links up to the pool in Concord Avenue. So in a nutshell, we still have a few loose ends to wrap up, but we're looking to do that in the next couple of weeks. We're also still under budget, and we will be returning money to pay down the debt to the tune of $500,000. Woo! So I just wanted to say thank you to town meeting. Thank you for voting for the feasibility study way back when, for voting to put the project on the ballot. We've made real positive change for the town of Belmont. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. The library is fantastic. I know I'm sure everybody's been there, but if you haven't, you definitely need to check it out. It is one of the premier buildings in town now. So thank you for all of you and for the committee's work. Very much appreciated by all of us. So at this point, we're going to begin a little bit of procedure. Please bear with us. I'm going to move to adjourn the annual town meeting until after the dissolution of the special town meeting on June 3rd. So I have a second to adjourn the, I'm sorry, sorry, Taylor, I totally forgot, wrong slide. Taylor has to, Yates Taylor. Good God, I get the Matts wrong and the Taylors wrong. It's always something.
Move that Article 1 be laid on the table.
Take a second. All in favor, I will take a unanimous consent, seeing no opposition. So Article 1 is laid on the table. Thank you. So now we're going to adjourn the special town meeting until after the dissolution of adjourn the annual town meeting until after the dissolution of the special town meeting on June 3rd. Do I have a second for that motion? Anybody in opposition? Otherwise, seeing none, I will take unanimous consent. So we will stand in adjournment of the annual town meeting. I now call the June 3rd, 2026 special town meeting back to order. And we need to then immediately adjourn it after our town clerk does the particulars that we are required to do.
Perhaps by night 5, I'll catch on to how to do this microphone thing. So I, Ellen O'Brien Cushman, Town Clerk, do hereby certify that I gave notice of the adjourned session of the special town meeting held by remote means, both remote and by in-person access from May 18, 2026, by posting an attested copy of the notice of adjournment on the town clerk's official bulletin board in Town Hall, on the town website, and at least 5 other places in town, giving notice that the special town meeting had not been completed and had been adjourned to meet again Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. by hybrid means, briefly stating the business to be acted upon, all in accordance with the Representative Town Meeting Act of 1926 as amended, and Section 30-110C of the general bylaws of the town. I don't, thankfully, have to read my other long speech, so that's great news. However, we do need to test our devices, as in that will serve as your attendance check. So you do get credit for two different types of meetings. You get the credit for the annual and on the special one. We're having them in the same night. So I am going to ask you to press 1 if you are struggling to be here, 2 if you're barely, or if you're here with gusto, and 3, I have no idea what that one was. So 1, 2, or 3. Thank you.
Being that this is an attendance check, it doesn't really matter what number you press. We're just trying to see that you're here for the special, which clearly you are, because otherwise I wouldn't be looking at you. So again, apologize for having to go through all this, but the Article 3 under the special town meeting is not ready for this evening. I think we're waiting for Belmont Media. Just so you know, when I say that, it's because we are live streaming this as well, and there is a lag. So people don't see the voting screen or me saying the voting is open if they're watching it on a lag. So you all get to vote first in the room. So there's, I guess there's that. 10 seconds. All right, and close the voting.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes,
if I have trouble voting, is then now the time to let you know?
if there's an emergency vote, absolutely.
I would like to, Anne Marie Lambert, Precinct 2, I am here.
You are indeed. If anybody else wants to affirm that they are here, microphone B.
Hi, Samantha Burge, Precinct 2, affirming that I'm here.
Yes, you are.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I'm here, and I also vote yes.
So noted. Okay, so everybody's here. Excellent. So at this point, Chair Taylor, I have no remarks.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large, move to adjourn and continue the special town meeting to June 8th, 2026 at 7:30 PM and reconvene the annual town meeting.
All right, we have a second. I'm going to take unanimous consent, seeing no opposition. The motion's been adopted. I now call the annual town meeting back to order here on June 3rd, 2026. So we don't need to do anything else on that regard. So now we can get back to business. So Article 34, appropriation of FY 2027 capital expenditures. Chris Doyle, Chair of the Comprehensive Capital Budget Committee, will be making, just so you know what we're going to be doing, there are 9 motions under Article 34, 8 under A and 1 under B. Yes, we have to vote every single one of them separately. However, what we're going to be doing is Ms. Doyle is going to be making a presentation on everything, on all 9 motions. And get a second. She's going to make the motion under A. Then she's going to make the presentation. Then we're going to discuss everything. And then we'll start voting through the 8 on A. And then she'll make the motion under B. And we will then have the vote under B. So all the discussion we're going to do all at once on all of it. So Chris, first off, we're going to start with the, if you want to move to waive the reading of the motions under A.
Sure. Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee, Town Meeting Member Precinct 6. I would move to waive the reading of the motion.
Of 34A. There's a motion to waive the reading of 34A. Mr. Haskell, if you want to scroll through, there's 8 motions under there, so that would be a lot of reading. Take unanimous consent of waiving the reading, seeing no opposition, that's been approved. So we have, you're making the motion under A. Do we have a second for the motion under A, 34A? We have a second, so motion 34A has been seconded. Ms. Doyle is now going to make the presentation under all of it.
Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee, thank you. Thank you, everyone, and I'll try and be brief. We sent out our report a couple weeks ago, and I do want to thank our committee. We have a great group. We have a good time together, and we try and do good service for the town, and I really enjoy the group. Can we go to the next slide? Okay. So I'm going to go through some sort of high-level things.
Get closer to the microphone, Chris.
I'm going to go through some high-level things, and then happy to answer any specific questions that people may have. This is a high-level summary. It's not a substitute for reading our report. There were a couple little nuggets in our report that were like a little teaser to try and see if people might read the report. I'm happy. I have a little 2 gift certificates to 2 coffee shops in Belmont Center, and one of the nuggets has been found, and I'll announce at the end who got that one, and that person will have their choice of the coffee shops, and hopefully someone else will find the other one. Our report provides an overview of capital investment for all funding sources for the town for 30 years, 27 to 56. That includes funding sources that we also voted in May, right? The enterprise funds and CPA. We use a long-term and medium-term view to inform the prioritization of short-term projects. So we try and keep those projects that are coming up in later years in mind as we're making decisions about making recommendations about short-term projects. And then we use the Capital Stabilization Fund recommendations as a committee and then as town meeting to effect saving and smoothing for capital funding over multiple years. But it's important to note, as the moderator already did, is that we're only voting tonight on appropriations for FY27. We're not voting on appropriations for the subsequent years. And let's see, is this my clicker or is someone else doing that? Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, so there's 3 colors here. I'm kind of a color coding person, sorry. So the first one pertains to A primarily, which is the discretionary funds, which is generally, it's around $2 million, 34A. It does embedded in that funding source, and discretionary funds are basically an appropriation from our revenues of the town for capital purposes. It includes embedded in that 2.1 million are 2 things of note. One is the interest earnings on our capital endowment fund. And the other are turnbacks, which are basically funds that were not spent on previously appropriated capital projects. And you see the two amounts there. Green represents dedicated funding sources. So we've already voted on these. So one set we're going to vote tonight in 34B, Article 34B, and those would be on sidewalk and pavement. And those are related to operating overrides that we as a town have voted on in the past and that are dedicated to sidewalks and pavements. We already voted in May on the enterprise fund capital items. That was Article 28. And we already voted on the CPA property tax capital items. That was Article 16. So green is dedicated funding. So the kind of rusty red thing at the bottom is also funding sources that we as town meeting vote on, the select board votes on and we vote on. In this case, as you will see, those turn out to be funding sources for the Chenery Roof project, but we're going to get to the projects in a second. Those are, first of all, free cash, $1.3 million. We're going to vote on that together, Article 30, after this Article 34. And then other reserves are also going toward that project. Some from general capital stabilization, again from capital stabilization, and then from the Kendall Fund. All three of those last ones we're not voting on together until the fall town meeting. So there will be no votes for those ones at the bottom. I'm listing them here so that we all understand what the funding sources for the Chenery Roof project are, but those votes don't come until the fall. So, okay. So here are the projects that go with the funding we just went over. So the Chenery Roof is a range of $4 to $6.5 million. There's still discussions going on between the town and the consulting engineer about the price for that project. So we put it in as a range because those are ongoing consultations and reviews that are going on. And I just have a note here. We 2 town meetings ago voted on the boilers for the Chenery, the new boilers. And last town meeting last spring, we voted on the HVAC system. So those 3 things, the roof that we're voting on now, the HVAC and the boiler, that's, if you take the lower end, the 4 million, that's $9.5 million of projects that we have done for the Chenery over 3 years without any debt. And, we did that collectively with through the process of spreading out and saving money in the various stabilization funds. So I think I just wanted to note that for town meeting. Next, we turn to the things that are going to be funded out of the discretionary funds. That's why that's black again. Some DPW equipment, $385,000 for roads and parks. Some IT equipment, which is infrastructure upgrades, cabling, a document management system. And I will note, and this is in the report, but that's supplemented by a nice grant that the IT team received. And we're very grateful that they've been very aggressive in applying for such grants. It's been helpful to the town. Police and fire, the contribution we make annually to the ambulance to build up funding for the periodic ambulance replacement, and then for the police multiplexers, $240,000. The Underwood Pool, this is work on the diving board as well as some other work on a bathhouse. And then 2 schools related to 2 projects related to two other schools, and these came partly out of the building assessment that was done. Completed last year. Burbank PA system needs to be repaired, and some Windbrook doors, emergency and various types of doors in the Windbrook. And then finally, rounding out the amount is the amount that we're going to recommend for a deposit to the Capital Stabilization Fund, $516,000. And this would be a contribution toward projects that are coming in subsequent years, 28 and 29 in particular, which you'll see. I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay. So here's some 28, this isn't everything. You saw lots of stuff if you read the report, but a few things that are important to highlight for the next few years. The Harris Field, which is kind of a 3-part project, estimated at $3.3 million. And this is the repair replacement of the field, the track, and then the lights. The field and the track probably need to be done together from kind of a project efficiency point of view. The lights could be done later. The landfill cap that we've all been talking about and reading about for many years, the number is still $5.7 million. We do have a fund reserve. We have $3.2 million reserved against that, but that leaves a gap of $2.5 million that would have to be funded. And that's right now estimated for FY '29, but that's kind of a little bit of a process with the state. And then longer term, I just would highlight a particular project that's important and that we presumed would need a debt exclusion, because I think it's important for all of us to sort of be able to look ahead and see when there might need to be a debt exclusion. And that's assuming $22 million for a new public works facility. You'll see when you look in our report, and also you look at the 30-year period, which we did escalate at 3% annually for inflation, about 65% of the overall plan has dedicated funding sources. So if we think back to the slide, the stuff that was green, that means things from the enterprise fund, from our water and sewer fees, funding from the portions of the operating overrides related to pavement and sidewalks, right. So that and CPA funding as well. So about 65% of that whole plan is related to things that have dedicated funding. I think that is, these are just some things we're going to be looking at kind of the summer and next year. Continuing to work with the facilities department, who we work with really closely on prioritizing projects in the building assessment, some work on vehicle inventory. So there's a connection and sort of a domino decision-making related to the landfill cap and then the DPW building that's related to Belmont Light making certain decisions. Stormwater, we talked a little bit about in the Maytown meeting. A maintenance policy, we'd like to, a couple folks on our committee are going to spend some time on that. And then we understand the town might be reviewing financial policies. And so if they do that, if the town staff does that, we'll be participating. So that is it.
Thank you. I'd like to get the votes of the committees, if I could, on all of Article 34, although if there's a special vote on one of the motions under this different, please note that. So, Ms. Doyle, Comprehensive Capital.
Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee. We voted 8-0 for all of those.
Under 34. Chair Taylor for the Select Board.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. The Select Board recommends favorable action unanimously 3-0 on all the motions.
Chair Moriarty for the School Committee.
Meg Moriarty, School Committee, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 2. The School Committee took these up as one motion and voted unanimously in favor, 6-0.
Chair Richter for the Warrant Committee.
Mr. Moderator, Paul Richter, Chair of the Warrant Committee, Town Meeting Member from Precinct 8. The Warrant Committee voted on all of the motions together, and we voted to recommend favorable action by a vote of 12-0 with one abstention.
Thank you. So now it is time to discuss Article 34. As I said, all of the motions under 34A and B we'll discuss all together, and then we'll go through a series of votes once we are done. So the floor is now open for debate on Article 34. There are no hands up on Zoom at the time, so microphone B.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. My neighbors, I hope you will take a look at the annotated warrant, which will walk you through all of the motions that are contained under this article. It also has a blurb if you have questions like, what do you mean by DPW parks equipment and stuff like that? It's all spelled out. And I just want to highlight that while we talk about discretionary capital, discretionary doesn't really mean optional or nice to have. These are often vital to department operations, to prudently manage maintenance and replace large assets. And then the Comprehensive Capital Budget Committee is working really hard to balance both immediate needs and long-term needs. So there's a lot of prioritization that goes behind this. And so as you're following along, I encourage you to follow along using the annotated warrant to see what you're actually appropriating in each motion and how it might help each department either with their immediate needs or long-term needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Microphone B.
Mary Ann Scally, Town Meeting Member from Precinct 2. I have a question on the sidewalks and roads. Years ago, we voted a certain amount of money, which many people thought was going to be used every year. It was around $2 million. So what are you doing? How is it working?
So each time that the town has voted for sidewalk, an element in an override, and each time that we've
State your
voted,
name for the record, sorry.
Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee, each time we voted for an element in an override for sidewalks and an element of the override for pavement, we've continued every year. So the town is only obligated to do that for technically legally for the first year, but it's been the town's practice and it's continued every single year. Those funds are dedicated to sidewalks and roads. They're not put to anything else.
I'm happy to hear that, but what's
Can you
the,
identify yourself, please?
oh, I'm sorry, Mary Ann Scally, Precinct 2, town meeting member.
You mean which roads? Is that what you mean? Or
Well, I was going to ask that later, but anyway. No, so is it around 2 million that you put
the
aside?
amount. I'm sorry. Yes, the amount. So sidewalks is about 525,000 a year, and the pavement is 2 million.
All right,
And then-
Mary Ann, I'm sorry.
And then in addition, separate from what we all appropriate, we also get Chapter 90 money, which this year is $790,000 on top of that.
Okay, Mary Ann Scally, Precinct 2. So which of the roads?
So I would need, here comes my
Chris, can you-
friend Jay.
Chris,
Martha-
identify yourself, please.
Oh, Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee. There is a spot on the town website, and Jay can identify that. But there is a spot on the town website. I was looking at it the other day, and it lists all of the roads that are coming, either in process now or coming in the next year.
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. I was anticipating this question. We ask this question every year. Prospect Street is not on this year's. And it's not on next year's, but it has a good chance to be on 28, if not 28, definitely 29.
Oh, God, but anyway.
It doesn't meet the threshold yet.
Mary Ann Scally, Precinct 2. I wasn't going to ask Prospect Street. I want to know what are the ones you're going to do?
Mr. Marcotte?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Which streets
Oh,
are on
sorry.
the list?
So Jay Marcotte, DPW Director, Bernard Road, Benjamin Road, Betts Road, Drew Road, Frederick Street, Jonathan Street, Laurel Street, Marlborough Street, Oliver Road, Orchard Circle, Orchard Street, I have Orchard Street twice, sorry. Oh, no, that's right. Orchard Street from Concord Ave to Stone Road, and then Orchard Street from Orchard Circle to School Street. Shaw Road, Sherman Street, Stone Road, Sycamore Street, Unity Ave, and Worcester Street.
That's a nice, Mary Ann Scally, Precinct 2. That's a nice list, but what about Brighton Street? It has so many holes now. What are you going to do about it?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. I'm glad you brought up Brighton Street because Brighton Street's been on our radar for about 4 years. The water main needs to be updated on half of this from Cross Street to the railroad track. Once that net is on, our water main project for next fiscal year. So July 1, we're going to look at doing work for that. Probably in the spring of 27. Once that is complete, then Brighton Street is like absolutely going to get done. Brighton Street is, I don't know if anyone remembers years back, Lorimer Street, we had water main break like probably every 2 weeks there. Brighton Street is getting to be that way and it needs to get repaired. So once that happens, all new pavement. So let's just say the spring of 28, we'll fast track that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we're going to do microphone A again, then A, then B, then B, then on Zoom with Melissa McIntyre. So microphone A.
Michael McNamara, town meeting member, precinct 7. I just want to say, as someone who lives on Marlborough Street, you have kept your promise. They have completely redone the sidewalks and completely redoing the roads. So just want to say, and also I have a mom who's on Harriet Ave. She also has had the roads done. So I do appreciate that. I think it's really important that we have safe roads, and obviously it's very difficult because we have a lot of old trees, especially near the Marlborough area, where the roots sort of go into the sidewalk and obviously potentially could go into the street. So I just want to say thank you very much for doing Marlborough Street. I know the whole community is very appreciative that we have done, and we're hoping to continue this work to help all the other streets that are in desperate need and make sure the sidewalks are safer and ADA compliant for people who want to get from place to place. So I just want to say thank you. I see the progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Microphone A.
Ada Batista, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 3. Mr. Moderator, this question's for Jay Marcotte, Director.
Mhm.
Director, can you just explain to us how much money would be needed to fix, if you could, fix all the roads and then all the sidewalks in town?
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. I am sorry, Ada, I had to look at Mr. Anderson over here because last year, if everyone remembers, he came up, asked if we were to do the whole town in sidewalks, concrete sidewalks, how much would it cost? And we're in the tune of about 25 million to do all the sidewalks in town, just convert them all over.
Okay.
Roads is a different ballgame. I had that assessment, I would probably a $500 million.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, we're spending 2 million and we're barely getting through, mile and a half. We have 90 something miles here.
I guess another question for you.
You identify yourself,
I'm
please?
sorry. Ada Batista, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 3. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How do other towns manage this expenditure and or quality of the roads?
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. It's a great question, and every community is different with different priorities and different funding sources. The state gives us XYZ dollars every year, and we have been using our allotment of about $2 million every year. So if that doubled, then we could do double the work. It's just a matter. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. The other thing we also have to is they call it construction fatigue. You can only do so much in a year. And with roads, water main, sewer, stormwater work, private construction, it's, some people just start getting sick of it.
Thank you for your team's hard work. I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you. Microphone B.
Joan Drevens, Precinct 7, and actually I live on Betts Road and we just had our street paved, so thank you. I've also had a repetitive question from one of my constituents, also happens to be my husband, who has been asking about the burns. And I learned a new word. I guess it's like a mound on the slope made of asphalt. And it's actually looks like it's cut down the width of the street, and they're going to fill that with grass. What's the pros and cons of that? Is it costing more money to have those burns put in? He's quite concerned.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. Are you talking about the sidewalk, a grass shoulder, and then like either it's concrete or
The asphalt, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, Joan Drevens, Precinct 7, where the street ends, there's like a mound. And they said they're going to put grass there, but instead of bringing the street right to where the grass already is. So
You're right.
it is
Yeah.
cutting down the width of the street.
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. That is absolutely planned that way. It's the traffic control for one thing. It slows traffic down. And the other is it helps put more green space in our communities, which helps us with our stormwater management system. The more green space we have, the less stormwater we have that's getting into our stormwater system. So it's designed that way. I wish it could be a standard 5-foot sidewalk, 3-foot grass shoulder, and then granite curb on every street. But every street's designed different, depends on how old it is, depends on if it was even designed to have sidewalks or not. So we do the best we can with what we have. But for the most part, it is a traffic like speed control engineering concept with that.
More expensive or less expensive if we had done it the traditional way?
Mr. Marcotte?
Joan Drevens, Precinct 7.
Jay Marcotte, DPW. The cost is actually minimal with the contractor there. They have to either put a Cape Cod berm or granite curbing. So to have them create that shoulder, the cost is, they're there already. So maybe 1% of the project, maybe less. It is their cost, but it's
Right.
one, it's a stormwater measure. So we get points or credits when we go through our MS4 permitting. So we might pay a little more on the pavement part, but we'll get better benefits on the stormwater. So
Okay. All right, thank you. He'll
Thank
be
you.
happy. Thank you.
So now we're going to go microphone B, then on to Zoom for Melissa McIntyre, then A, then back to Zoom for Rosemary Burke, then B, and then back to Zoom for Azra Nelson. So microphone B.
Corinne McHugh, Olmsted Precinct 1. I have 2 questions. The first one is last year we were told that in areas where tree roots were rising up the sidewalk that we'd put in asphalt. But it seems, I know on Godin Street, for example, that it looks like the whole street has been done in asphalt rather than concrete. Is there a change in plan?
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. No, there isn't a change in plan. That was just the sidewalk was in such deplorable condition from not just the tree roots, but just wear and age and time. We just made a decision to do the whole thing over. It just made more sense to do it that way.
Okay, thank you. Corinne McEwen, so Precinct 1. And my second question is, and I think I asked about this last year, the Orchard Stone neighborhood in my precinct was originally on the list to be paved last year, maybe even the year before, but the residents were told that it was put off because National Grid was planning to redo the line down the center of the roads. And that obviously hasn't been done, and we're about to be paved again. And when someone asked about it, they were told that National Grid decided it didn't need to be done. So I guess my question again is about coordination. Are we coordinating with National Grid? I mean, obviously, if they thought there was a leak there that needed to be replaced, we'd rather have that taken care of than have the road done sooner.
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. My answer to this last year was that National Grid is the bane of my existence, and they are constantly doing stuff like this. My favorite is if we do put a new road in, then all of a sudden they have to break the moratorium and put in whatever they have to do. And they can do that because they are considered a critical service. So it's, yes, they're the bane of my existence. We try to coordinate with them. Engineering is with talking to their reps probably weekly, if not, a couple times a week.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go to Zoom, Melissa McIntyre.
Hello, Melissa McIntyre, Precinct 8. I hate to ask about specific roads even more, but you mentioned Sherman Street, and I live close to it, and I was actually talking about this with a couple of different constituents just yesterday. Sherman Street, 2 blocks of Sherman Street is currently ripped up and has been so for a couple of weeks. And there are signs that say no parking between May 13 and June 13, so it looks like we may have to wait for another 10 days, up to 10 days, until it gets resolved. And related to that, I have 2 questions. First, I'm curious to know how the street selection takes place, because in talking with neighbors, we're not sure why this particular little 2-block stretch of Sherman Street was chosen.
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. I don't have the details as to the why. I will have to get back to you on that.
Okay, it's more a general question about.
Identify yourself again, Melissa.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Melissa McIntyre, Precinct 8. It's more a general question about how street selection takes place. Is there a list, like can people contribute a street? Does a certain number of complaints have to get lodged? That kind of thing. It was a general question.
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. That's a great question. We get asked that question a lot throughout the year. It's not just pick a street out of a hat type thing. We try to do they call it a blended type approach, where there are some roads that need full depth, meaning that the entire road needs to be ripped up, infrastructure needs to be redone. Then they have a mill and overlay, which is less expensive than a full depth. Mill and overlay, they take the first 2 or 3 inches off, grind it out, and then put new on top. And then there's crack sealing, then there's pothole repair, like larger sections that are like either the whole width of the road or just a portion of like 10, 20, 30 feet of the road. So it's a mixed blend approach, I guess, to trying to increase, they call it a pavement management index. And you want to try to be in the 60s or 70s with that index. And we are in the lower 60s right now. But we continually, as years go on in this blended approach, we continue that 60s approach. More money, we can go up to, 65, 70 for a PCI. So,
okay.
Does that answer?
That does. And I had one other question. And that is,
Well, we're doing two questions.
I was clarifying my question. The question I asked initially was supposed to be a general question, not a specific one. And so I clarified it with my quote second question, but I actually had two questions.
The loophole.
Not acceptable?
Sorry, we have a point of order. Can you please hold? Who's got the point of order? Auditorium. Go ahead.
Yes, respectfully, I would just ask if questions about individual roads like this aren't outside the scope of this article.
Well, I'd say not necessarily, because we're talking about the capital budget and the choice of the various roads that were chosen. And I would say that's in scope. We're talking about funding the roads. Why this road, not that road, and the process used to get to there.
Yes.
But I hear you. There are other things in Article 34 besides roads, just so people remember. Member McIntyre, was there any other comment or?
Well, I had a second question, which is also using this as an example, but it's a general question.
Well, let me hear the question and we'll see.
All right, Melissa McIntyre, Precinct 8. So I'm curious to know how the process of repairing streets and roads happens. And the specific question in the situation that I have access to a half a block away from my house is that the street was ripped up several weeks ago and has been left in what I believe is a more bumpy state than it was before it was ripped up. And it's been like that now for a few weeks. And as I said, the sign suggests that it may take another 10 days, which is fine. I mean, we understand that these things take time. I'm just curious to know what the process is in terms of when they decide to do a street. How is it they rip up all of the streets at the same time and then pave them one at a time when they are able to bring the equipment around? Or do they rip up a street and then try to pave that street a few days later? Well, how is the process generally supposed to work?
Mr. Marcotte.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. So depending on if it's a full depth, that could take all summer. Mill and overlay, they'll do a specific area. They'll get all the structures, the water gates, the catch basins, manhole covers, they'll raise those. And then they'll wait until they have it coordinated where they can get like a fleet of 10-wheelers in with asphalt, and then they'll just pave the overlay in a day or two. So yeah, there is some prep time, and they try to coordinate to make it as efficient as possible. But there are roads that could wait all summer to get redone, just because if it's a full depth, they got to take out all the bad stuff, all the underneath, put in all new compact, all new structures. So it could take a while. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate the work that you're doing, and I appreciate you being able to answer the questions so that I can let my neighbors know. Thank you very much. Sorry,
Thank
Melissa McIntyre, Precinct 8.
Thank you. We're going to do microphone A, then go to Zoom for Rosemary Burke, then microphone B, then back to Zoom for Azra Nelson, Darren Muction, Cobb Eames, Roger Rubel, Angus Abercrombie, Melanie Wasserman. A.
Mr. Moderator, G. Mooney, Precinct 6. Not a road question. I wanted to ask Ms. Doyle, I wanted to get some clarity on the Kendall Fund. I can't believe it's been nearly going on, it's close to 30 years since we've had that fund. I think the capital budget report said that as of June 2025, it was at 1.2 million. I don't know if it was slightly higher this year, and that we're using $500,000 of that for the Chenery roof, which I think is a good use. My question is there a long-term plan for the Kendall Fund? I know that we have a couple of projects, the capping of the incinerator site, possible DPW. Oftentimes, the Kendall Fund is used for feasibility studies or phase 1 building plans. So I just wanted to know if that fund would now be down to $700,000. And if we have some plans for it. Thank you.
Chair Doyle.
Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee. The next thing on the slate after this for the Kendall Fund is about estimated $300,000 for a plan for the DPW building. which kind of goes in the, I'll just call it a tradition. It's not a policy per se, but the tradition of using that for planning type work. And then you're right, it is getting gradually drawn down. Patrice is hovering, so she might want me to say something or but what I was going to say, and then I'm sure she'll want to chime in, was that what we're using now to sort of flow funds in and out is the capital stabilization fund. That's the tool for, in this case, 515,000 will go in there. We'll vote to remove that for another project like the, Harris Field or something. So there's not a practice right now of refilling the Kendall Fund because we're using the capital stabilization fund instead for that purpose, and it allows us to go in and out with greater ease, meaning in a more transparent way. Everyone can see what it's for, and there's a voting process under municipal law for money going in and out of that. And Patrice might want to or supplement what I said.
Town Administrator?
Town Administrator Patrice Garvin, I just wanted to add to this. So back earlier this year, because it has been around for so long, I think it served its purpose to be transferred into the Capital Stabilization Fund, given the capital needs of the town.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. On Zoom, Rosemary Burke. Member Burke, you have to unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. Rosemary Burke, Precinct 2. I just had a quick question about the, under the DPW work. Is there a accounting or an acknowledgement or a map or something of the trees that were planted in honor of Glenn Clancy? Is there somewhere where there's a record of that?
Mr.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. We have not planted any trees for the Glenn Clancy Tree Fund. I've been speaking with our consultant, not consultant, he's our contractor, sorry. And we are planning to do all the plantings this June, next, by July. We do have the fund set aside as a little over $27,000, and we're going to be focusing on public spaces, clay pit, parks, open spaces, road, the circles and stuff like that. So once that is determined, we will inventory them into our iTree system, which is online, and we can dedicate our earmark or have a special color code for the Glenn Clancy trees, and we'll make everything, what type of tree it is, where it is, all that. Good.
That would be nice to have. Thank you.
Thank you. We do microphone B, then go to Zoom for Azra Nelson, Darren Muxton, Cabell Eames, Roger Rubel, Angus Abercrombie, Melanie Wasserman, then A, then back to Zoom for Roger Diebold. B.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Mark Palillo, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 8, and I'm also the Chair of the Council on Aging Board. And Jay, I want to ask questions about the sidewalk repair. Because clearly we hear constantly on COA board members concerns about seniors walking down our sidewalks. There isn't a street that you can go down in Belmont, I think, in which you don't find a sidewalk that is in need of repair, and certainly for our school-age children as well. I think you said it would be $25 million to fund our repair. And I think it raises the point that at the current funding level, I believe it's $500,000, Chris, right? That's 50 years. And so by the time you get to the end of it, you're gonna have to go back and repair again. And so I guess my question is, first of all, I guess the point is, are we funding at the level that we should? Secondly, I know you did a sidewalk analysis repair, perhaps when I was still on the board, Jay. I don't remember the exact year. And you used that to sort of focus our efforts. Do you continue to look at that and evaluate whether our sidewalks are in need of repair? And what process do you go through? Do we repair sidewalks when we do the roads, or do we do sidewalks separately as well?
Mr. Marcotte.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. So the sidewalk repair fund that was dedicated back in 2015 and in 24 is for maintenance spot repair sidewalk work. So our focus has been tree damage sidewalks for the last 3 years. We're still on that list, and our inventory has identified all the hot spots. We focus on safe routes to school first. For the most part, most of those are done. We are, like I said, focusing on the tree root damage. All those repairs are made with asphalt, even if there's concrete on both sides.
Yeah.
We'll take out the flag of cement or the crumbled cement that's from damage from the tree root, and then we'll replace it with, to the best we can, a smooth transition from the concrete asphalt back to concrete. There are some situations.
Mr. Marcotte, can you get close to the microphone? We're getting some.
There are some situations where it's we just can't get it, but it's as smooth and as safe as we can make it without damaging the tree. When roads are done, sidewalks are, if they need it, are either spot repaired for longer lengths, whether there's a tree there or not. Like on Marlborough Street, we're doing spot repairs for sidewalks because the condition is good in some of the areas. But for the most part, if Jonathan Street is an example, the sidewalks were abysmal, both sides. They're all done concrete. So sidewalk repair money is dedicated to tree root issues right now. And then road repair sidewalks is a totally different fund that's focused on that. And I do understand our conditions.
Yeah.
There are years where we had no money.
No money.
No money on
Right.
spending. Peter Castanino had a Excel spreadsheet. In 20 something years, his average maintenance line item for sidewalks was like 16 grand. That's terrible.
Mr. Moderator, if I just make one additional comment. Mark Palillo, town meeting member, precinct 8. I do appreciate that, Jay, and I understand the challenges that we're faced with. I just wanted to make those points, and clearly appreciate the fine work that our comprehensive capital budget committee has done, Chris. I mean, you guys do great work. But at this level of funding, we're never going to get to the end. And perhaps that's just the nature of sidewalk repair. And I know we do our very best, but there are clearly a number of sidewalks in town that create safety issues for not only our seniors, our school-age children, but also our residents. Thank you, Jay, for the good work you do. Appreciate that.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you. We're going to Zoom for Azra Nelson.
Hi, good evening. Azra Nelson, Precinct 5. This is a question about frequency of the resurfacing projects that we have. I have just happened to be on the site of the road paving history for Belmont, and I just wanted to confirm if I'm understanding correctly. Sherman Street was worked on in 2016, at least by what we have listed for the 2016 payment management program. And Mr. Marcotte, if you don't mind, could you just please explain why is it sort of different part? Am I misunderstanding the historical webpage and the program that we already accomplished in the past?
Mr. Marcotte.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. That's a great question. So the road was done back in 2016, but the section that was done is not obviously the section that we're doing now. And the reason for that was the condition index said that this certain part of the road was, part of that blended value that I was getting at earlier. We were trying to maintain a 60 or better PCI. So that back in 2016, that section that was deemed, worthy of getting done was done. So Sherman Street now is being done from Dean Street to Channing Road. So that is, again, part of this blended approach that we have.
Okay. I was just sorry. I was looking at what that actually was in 2016, Brighton to Dean. Okay, that explains. Thank you. And may I please ask you, because we do talk about the budget, but what is realistically $500,000 buys us in terms of like how much of sidewalk we can actually realistically do? Is that something that is super expensive in our area? like, what are we actually dealing with? Like, is that like a just very small section, longer sections that we can afford? I feel like we don't really have any metrics for that particular budget at all.
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. Another great question. Not every sidewalk is cookie cutter sidewalk. Tree work is actually a lot of work. And that cost for the repair is part of that, our sidewalk repair budget. Like I said, I can think of one on Walnut Street. The bump has got to be 3 feet high. It goes concrete and literally a 3-foot bump up and then concrete. That takes a lot of time to prep because you have to make it as smooth a transition as you possibly can. So the rise on that bump is pretty significant. So we do the best we can, and you know, some things take more time than others, and that cost is put into whatever you know, that section will cost, and it might cost more because of all the work. One of the biggest things is concrete is like 3 times more expensive than asphalt. So if we didn't have concrete sidewalks all over town and
Can you get close to the microphone? Sorry, we're getting.
converted to asphalt, we would be able to stretch that dollar a lot further. 80% of our sidewalks are concrete and 20 is asphalt. The town of Lexington is the exact opposite. 80% of their sidewalks are asphalt and 20% are concrete. The value of homes is one of the arguments I hear all the time. You're going to devalue my house. It's not true at all. Lexington values of their homes are just as valuable as ours. So, and they can go a lot further with their sidewalk repair money than we can because it's asphalt.
All right, thank you. Going on
Thank
Zoom.
you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Darren Muction on Zoom.
Thank you. And thank you, Jay, for all the work you do for the town. Without you, things wouldn't get
Identify
done.
yourself, please.
It's Darren Muction, town meeting member, precinct 2. Again, Jay, thank you for everything. I had a couple questions. When we have utility work done like it's been done on Clifton Street, where it really digs up a road that we paved a few years back, who's responsible for like the island, the island up in the middle of the work they've done, destroying it and the potholes and everything? Are they utility companies responsible for repaving the road and putting it back into the condition it was initially?
Before we go there, I just want to say, Mr. Muction, I'll allow this one question, but people need to focus on the scope of this, which is appropriating the money for the roads and the sidewalks, and certainly within scope to say, why are you putting money towards this road or that?
That's what I meant to be. I mean, I hope we're not putting money into when it's not our fault. Jay.
Mr. Marcotte.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. No, it's the responsibility of the utility company to make the road in kind, but we have challenges with some of them to come back to repair their in-kind work.
All right. And I had a quick second question. I noticed there's a lot of work being done up in the new Belmont Hill, and it doesn't seem like it's town work. I think it's private money that's doing it. After they do the work and they repave all the roads up there, God forbid it needed to be done, is it the town's responsibility to maintain it after that, after they commit to the money they put into it?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. No, it's not. The only thing that we have been working with them on is the existing infrastructures up there, the catch basins, the covers, manholes, stuff like that. We've been working with them on if they need to be repaired or updated or fixed. That's our involvement. But as far as future maintenance and upkeep of those roads, no, that's all. They've been paying for that all out of their own pocket.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you very much again, Jay. Thanks very much.
Thank you. On Zoom, Kabul Eames.
Cabell Eames, Precinct 6. Given the town's goals to reduce impervious surfaces and improve our stormwater management, I wonder if the town is considering using permeable pavement technology such as the pervious concrete or the porous asphalt whenever you're restructuring the roads or the sidewalks, particularly in the lower traffic streets. I understand 80% you just said was concrete, but I wonder if we're considering any of these newer technologies to meet our flood resilience goals.
Mr. Marcotte.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. No, but I'm not ruling that out in the future. The technology is still not there because there is a maintenance application to them. They need to be vacuumed out every year to ensure that they're doing the drainage flow that they were intended to do. And a lot of communities that I know of are not going down that road yet just because of that one item there.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've had a number of hands go down on Zoom, so we're going to go microphone A, then to Zoom for Roger Diebold, and then back to A.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Mike Widmer, Precinct 5. I have a question for Chris Doyle. Sorry to interrupt you, Jay. Ms. Doyle, the Capital Stabilization Fund contribution, about 500,000, which is roughly 25% of your total. Could you just reflect on the balance the committee goes through to determine how much you want to do of the 2 million currently and how much you want to put aside for the future? Could you just reflect on that a little?
Chair Doyle?
Yeah, Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee. It's not scientific, but we use a couple of different considerations. One is we look at the list of all the projects that are requested and then understand from the town to the extent to which any of them have flexibility on the year they might be able to be implemented. We go through an evaluation criteria. We have 4 criteria that we go through, and all the members rank projects on those criteria, and we weight them. So things like urgency and safety get a higher ranking than a couple other considerations. And so we use that ranking to inform how we look at the projects too. The ones that are lower ranked, we look at those to see, why did they come out lower ranked and so on. And so a combination of using things, looking at the ranking and then understanding the flexibility of year of implementation of the projects. And then at the same time, looking at big things that are coming down the line and trying to understand the funding sources we might have for those and how urgent those are. So, the Harris track is a good example of one where, the house isn't on fire, but it's in very bad condition, right? And so it is in bad condition. We know we're going to need to fund that soon, and it's a very expensive project. So rather than funding something that's like lower ranked, that's on the variety of these metrics, we're like, okay, we're probably better off saving some money for this, what is clearly like an important and expensive project that's coming down the, so it's a process of considering those factors. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Chris, and thanks your committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go online to Roger Diebold.
Roger Diebold, Precinct 1. To better decide how to allocate funds for the road repair, sort of in the spirit of prevention, are there any restrictions, nudges, or creative ideas you've come across, Jay, in particular, related to snow plows or heavy trucks or other equipment that might cause outsized influence on road damage? I've heard of plows with trip edges or skids, or maybe ensuring that heavy trucks go on certain roads and not others, as they seem to cause much more damage. Are there other ways we can prevent rather than simply shovel more money into road repair, which we know is not really going to get done in full for 50, 60 years?
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. That's a great question. We are already implementing. I know Chris Doyle with Capital Committee has heard us say this, that the conversion for snow fighters in the past, which has saved us hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, that we've done throughout the years. The cost for the conversion of an older piece of equipment to what we call a snow fighter, it's cheaper to just get a lighter, we call it a dually type truck. And that truck is like I mentioned, it's lighter. We could put a different plow on it that's lighter, and we can also put it's like a hard rubber base on that plow that would be like a replacement. It's like a cutting edge And those would absolutely be used on the smaller roads. The bigger roads, there's not much we can do about that. Larger piece of equipment pushing a lot more snow, we need a bigger truck. But yeah, we are looking at the smaller roads with smaller pieces of equipment with different types of blade systems.
May I ask a follow-up?
Yes, you may. And identify yourself, please.
Yeah, Roger Diebel, Precinct 1. It sounds like there are some things going on. How to what degree has that been implemented? And what would you estimate the cost to fully do that? Because that, if we spend the money on prevention, we might save us an order of magnitude more on the repair costs. And I'd be very interested to understand what the trade-off is there.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. We just got the first truck now, just about a month ago or so it came in. You'd have to give me 5 years to give you some sort of data to actually back anything that I would say, because road repair versus pothole repair and equipment repair. So there's a lot that goes into what we do for snow operations. So I would need some time to get some data.
Okay. Thanks for your help.
Thank you. Next.
Mr. Moderator, before I forget,
yes, sir.
I did forget one road. It's kind of a special road that Mr. Clancy wanted to have done. It's Concord Ave from basically the Copper Beach that's going to be taken down this July. Concord Ave all the way to the Cambridge line. It's going to be done both sides, and new crosswalks are going to be put in, new bike lane orientations, and also enhancements to the jug handle.
Thank you. We're going to go online next to Roger Rubel, then to microphone B, then online to David Green. Roger Rubel. Mr. Rubel, you have to unmute yourself. Okay, microphone B. Ms. Birch.
Hi, Samantha Burge, Precinct 2. Nice to see you, Ms. Doyle. I had a question for the DPW director. Going back to what you said about how Belmont appropriates 80% towards concrete and 20% for asphalt, whereas Lexington is the inverse, and we have the same property value. I want to know the logic behind how Belmont made that decision, if we could stretch our dollar more to paving more roads.
Mr. Marcotte.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. I'll be blunt, asphalt's ugly. That's what I'm told all the time.
I briefly looked it up online. It said that asphalt is better.
Can you identify yourself, please?
Oh, I'm Samantha Burge, Precinct 2. It's better in the snow, and it will melt snow faster. But so it's just aesthetic reasons, is what you're saying.
Mr. Marcotte.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. The reality of concrete versus asphalt is that concrete, once it's in, it's supposed to last 50 years. Asphalt, once it's installed, even if it's installed properly under the best conditions, 20, 25 years.
Samantha Burge, Precinct 2. Do you think there'll be any reconsideration?
Mr. Marcotte.
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. I try every year.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Thank you.
On Zoom, David Green.
There, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
David Green, Precinct 7. Yeah, I just wanted to voice that it seems like there's a big need for safer sidewalks and that there is limited money. So I'm strongly in favor of allocating more for asphalt than for concrete because that seems very obvious in the context. So thank you for fighting for that repeatedly. That's it.
Thank you. I'm going to try Roger Rubel online again.
Yes, I'd like to call the question, Mr. Moderator.
There is only one person in line in the room who's already spoken and nobody on Zoom. So just so you know. I guess, Ms. Drevens, do you really have to speak again?
Yeah, I would allow the one person to, I would withdraw my request.
Okay, so did you have anything else you wanted to say, Roger?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was just withdrawing my request.
All right. Ms. Drevens, you'll have the
All
final
right,
word.
thank you. Yeah, Joan Drevens, Precinct 7. I actually had a question about the Underwood Pool. So is that under this? Right, so I actually did read the capital budget. I didn't find the prize. I looked through the warrant committee, didn't get my answer, but I was curious to $100,000, you said diving board and pool, pool house.
One of the bathhouses, some repairs to one of the bathhouses.
Is this expected at this point in time with the pool being actually 11 years old now, but
Right, the
Doyle.
bathhouse, Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee. The bathhouse, I think it's things that would be expected. The
Yeah.
diving board, I might ask Jay to comment on the diving
Okay.
board.
Mr. Marcotte?
Jay Marcotte, DPW Director. The original diving board, when the pool first opened, actually had to be repaired. And in my opinion, it's a design flaw in how the diving board was installed. So it needs to be totally taken out along with the concrete that's underneath it. It needs to be reestablished, and it needs to be done right. So the $50,000 price tag it's probably on the higher side, but we don't know what we're going to find when we get into it. So.
Okay, so Joan Drevens, Precinct 7. So I just want to say that I did look to find this information and it wasn't there. So just, if it could just be kind of in parentheses, I think it would help me understand a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no other people in line in the room or on Zoom, so we are ready for a series of votes on Article 34, and that concludes the debate under Article 34. So if you please bear with us, we have 9 motions that we have to separately vote. If we could, Mr. Haskell, put up the first one on the screen for everybody. All right. So this is we're doing this first motion under Article 34A, which is the one that's on the screen. So we are going to open voting on that motion now. Where did it go? Oh, okay. We're going to open the voting. All right. So voting is now open. You can please cast your vote, and this is on the first motion under 34A, under the appropriation of FY 2027 capital expenditures. Press 1 if you're in favor of the first motion under 34A, 2 if you're opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you're having trouble and you need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones. Wait for me to recognize you. If you need a microphone brought to you, we can do that. Likewise, if you're on Zoom, you can raise your Zoom hand to be recognized for an emergency vote. And you're going to be hearing me say that a lot. Yeah, I know I got to slow down. Sorry, Julie. Ten seconds. Okay. Do we have any emergency votes? We have microphone A.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I vote yes.
See no other emergency votes. Mr. Haskell, we can show the results. Says the votes are 222 in favor, 3 opposed, 1 abstention, with 1 emergency vote yes. Because we have to do a lot of these, we're going to scroll quicker than usual, but these will all be available online on the clerk's website tomorrow. Thought you might appreciate that. All right. So the second motion under Article 34A is this Department of Public Works that's on the screen. So we're now going to be voting on that motion. Open the voting. So the voting is now open. You please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you are in favor of the Department of Public Works second motion under 34A, 2 if you're opposed. And 2 if you're opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones, wait for me to recognize you, or we'll have a microphone brought to you. Likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, you can raise your Zoom hand to be recognized for an emergency vote. Ten seconds. Okay. And close the voting. Emergency vote at microphone A.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I vote yes.
Thank you. Seeing no other emergency votes. So under that motion for DPW, 222 in favor, 1 opposed, no abstentions with 1 emergency yes vote. Thank you. Okay. Next, we'll be voting the third motion, which is under Article 34A, which is the Facilities Department, for a total of $338,556 as shown on the screen. Please open the voting. Okay, the voting is now open on the Facilities Department motion under Article 34A. Please cast your vote if you want. Press 1 if you're in favor, 2 if you're opposed, 3 to abstain. If you're having trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones. Wait for me to recognize you. If you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. And likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your hand on Zoom to be recognized for an emergency vote. Ten seconds. Thank you. Close the voting. Member Aiken.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I vote yes.
Thank you. Seeing that's the only emergency vote, we can see the results. 219 in favor, 2 opposed, no abstentions with 1 emergency vote yes. We'll scroll the vote. Thank you. The fourth motion under Article 34A is the Fire Department for a total of $139,000. We will now be voting on that motion. Can you please open the voting? Okay, voting is now open. You can please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of the motion, 2 if you're opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you have trouble, need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones and wait for me to recognize you. Likewise, if you need a microphone brought to you, we can do that. And if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized. And now there's a delay on Belmont Media, so. Okay, now we're going. 10 seconds. Okay, and close the voting. Microphone A.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I vote yes.
Thank you. Seeing no other emergency votes, we can show the results. That is 224 in favor, none opposed, 1 abstention with 1 yes emergency vote. Let's scroll the votes. Okay. Next up is the 5th motion under Article 34A, which is the Police Department for a total of $240,000. Please open the voting. All right, so voting is now open. Under that motion, please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of the motion, 2 if you're opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones and wait for me to recognize you. And if you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you are joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized. Okay, 10 seconds. We close the voting. Do you have any emergency votes? Okay. Seeing no emergency votes, show the results. That is 218 in favor, 1 opposed, 4 abstentions under the police department motion. I'm going to scroll the results. Melissa McKenna's hand is up. Please go ahead.
Hi, yes. Melissa McKenna, Precinct 6, I vote yes.
Thank you. We'll add that to the total. Thank you. Great. The next motion under 34A is for Information Technology Department for $321,915. We're now going to be voting on this motion. Could we open the voting, Mr. Haskell? Voting is now open. Please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of this motion, 2 if you're opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones and wait for me to recognize you. If you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you are joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized for an emergency vote. Our reward after all of these is going to be taking our break. Ten seconds. Okay, we close the voting. Are there any emergency votes? Seeing none, we show the results. So under Information Technology Department, under 34A, it's 222 in favor, 1 opposed, 2 abstentions. The motion carries. Thank you. The next motion under Article 34A is Comprehensive Capital Budget Committee for a total of $515,888. We're now going to vote on that motion. Can you please open the voting? Excuse me. Okay, voting's now open. You can please cast your vote on that motion. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of the motion, 2 if you're opposed, 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones and wait for me to recognize you. If you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand. 10 seconds. Okay, we close the voting. We have any emergency votes? Seeing none, we show the results. So under the Comprehensive Capital Budget Committee motion under Article 34A, it's 231 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. The motion carries. Okay, thank you. The last motion under 34A, is this the appropriation, the $124,199 to be transferred from capital projects, and the rest that's up there on the screen. Give you a second to look at that. Okay, so we're going to be voting on this final motion under 34A. There's still one under 34B, but under 34A, we open the voting. Voting is now open, and please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of the motion, 2 if you're opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones and wait for me to recognize you. If you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized if you have an emergency vote. Ten seconds. Okay, we'll close the voting. Are there any emergency votes? Seeing none, I'll show the results. And that is 228 in favor, none opposed, 2 abstentions. The motion carries. Finally, under Article 34, the final action is 34B. After we scroll. Okay, and the final 34B, there you go, is $2,050,000. I'm sorry, paving and sidewalks total $2,575,697. Please open the voting under 34B. Okay. So voting is now open on the roads and sidewalks motion 34B. Please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of the motion, 2 if you're opposed, 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones. Wait for me to recognize you. If you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized if you have an emergency vote. Ten seconds. You close the voting. Emergency votes, microphone A.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I vote yes.
Thank you. Seeing no other emergency votes, we show the results. Under 34B, it's 225 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 abstention with 1 yes emergency vote. The motion carries.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes,
While you're scrolling, may I mention one other thing?
absolutely.
Chris
Chair Doyle.
Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee. I just wanted to recognize the person who found one of the nuggets in the report, and that would be our very own Anne Marie Mahoney. Yep. And she, yep. And she found the word rice shower, which is a former historic home in our town that was razed, unfortunately, on Concord Avenue, former home of Edwin O. Rice Shower, and Anne Marie located that. So I'm gonna give her her choice of coffee shop coupon.
Mr. Moderator, Anne Marie Mahoney, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1, since Ralph Jones mentioned Golden Street, Edwin Rice Shower, also connected to Golden Street. When he worked at Harvard University, he lived at the corner of Golden and Long Ave. And then subsequent to his ambassadorship to Japan, came back and built the house on Belmont Hill, which very sadly has been torn down. Thank you.
Thank you. Article 34 has been adopted in total. We're now going to take our break and come back in 10 minutes and do Article 30. Thank you. So we're going to I'm calling back to order the annual town meeting. And we're going to be taking up Article 30, which is transfers to stabilization funds next. Taylor Yates. Make the motion.
Moved that the town transfer $1.3 million from the undesignated fund balance or free cash to the Capital Stabilization Fund for the purpose of funding the Chenery Roof project.
Do I have a second? We have a second. Mr. Yates, do you have a presentation?
I just have some comments I'll make. So the town is continuing to put away funds from to replace the Chenery roof during the summer of 2027. Details are still being worked out, and town meeting is going to be asked this fall to appropriate funds for the third and final major maintenance project planned at the Chenery School. The boilers were replaced in the summer 2025. The HVAC was completed this summer. Working with facilities, the Comprehensive Capital Budget Committee examined options and is recommending a PVC roof membrane due to a balance of cost, durability, repairability, and the ability to hold solar. The roof has been estimated to cost between 4.2 and 6.5 million, and the town is working to understand the differences among the estimates. It is anticipated that an MSBA grant will reimburse about 34% of the project cost after the roof replacement is completed. And so the planned funds for the project are going to include the $1.3 million we're asking to allocate from free cash tonight, $1.25 million from the General Stabilization Fund, $1.1 million from the Capital Stabilization Fund, and $500,000 from the Kendall Fund.
Oh, thank you. It was very abbreviated and much appreciated. So the floor is now open. I'm sorry, get the vote of the select board.
The select board voted unanimously to recommend favorable action.
And the warrant committee?
Mr. Moderator, Paul Richter, Chair of the Warrant Committee, town meeting member from Precinct 8. The Warrant Committee unanimously recommends favorable action.
Comprehensive Capital Budget Committee?
Chris Doyle, Chair of the Capital Committee. We voted 8-0 in favor.
And the school committee?
Meg Moriarty, School Committee, Town Meeting member Precinct 2. The school committee voted unanimously to recommend favorable action.
Okay, thank you. The floor is now open for discussion of Article 30. Microphone A.
Mike Widmer, Precinct 5. Quick question. If all of the articles that in this town meeting are voted, approved, how much money will we have remaining in the free cash?
Mr. Lupian?
Jeff Lubian, Town CFO. Thanks, Mike. We had this queued up just in case someone asked a question. So here's the list of free cash. So for as of the beginning during this process, we saw that we had a total free cash, certified free cash balance, as you can see, is 7.2 million. And then we have the different allocations, the 2.9 and the 100,000 equal to 3 million that we, I think as Matt Taylor's been calling it, the reoccurring free cash. We determined the warrant committee some years ago of using that about 3 million of free cash seemed like a stable number based on analysis that will be constantly viewed. And so that's part of that allocation. Healthcare set aside. So that is due to the escalating healthcare costs. And so we needed to put in a cushion to help mitigate some of that. That being said, we do think there's going to be some turnbacks on this current year's healthcare. Just with people coming in and out of using the insurance, you have a natural potential for turnback. So we're estimating that at 300,000. Capital planning, which we're discussing now for the Chenery roof. We did vote 126,000 for the Beach Street Center, new floors. And then we also did vote 125,000 for the paramedic program that's coming out of this. And then we have some upcoming ones for some union contracts of $500,000 for the schools and 25,000 on the town side. So with all those puts and takes, we'd be looking at 1.1 million at the end.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions under Article 30? Microphone B.
Bill Anderson, Precinct 2. Mr. CFO, like saying that. The 1.1 million that's left, how does that align with our financial policies?
Mr. Lubian.
Thank you, Jeff Lubian, Town CFO. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. In terms of the current financial policies or agreement is that we wanted to keep around the $1 million mark. So we're within that frame. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions under Article 30? Seeing none, we are ready for a vote under Article 30. This is a vote under Article 30 for transfers to stabilization funds. May I open the voting, Mr. Haskell. Voting is now open. Please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you are in favor of Article 30, 2 if you are opposed, or sorry, the motion under Article 30, 2 if you're opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones. Wait for me to recognize you, and if you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized if you have an emergency vote. Microphone A.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I vote yes.
Yes, thank you. Ten seconds. And close the voting. So it's 218 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 abstention, with 1 emergency vote yes. Article 30 is adopted. Microphone B.
Mr. Moderator, Mark Polo, Town Meeting Member Precinct 8, I vote yes.
Okay. We'll add that emergency vote yes to the total. Okay, next up, we're going to be taking up Article 23. Article 23, which is appropriate for prior year bills. Ms. Barbarian.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Carol Barbarian, member of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member Precinct 7, moved that the town appropriate the sum of $1,316.08 from the general fund for the purpose of paying a prior fiscal year bill to AG adjustments.
Do we have a second? Is there a presentation?
Just a brief summary. So this is a standing article.
By yourself, please.
Carol Barbarian, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 7, member of the Select Board. This is a standing article at each annual town meeting to settle any unpaid bills from a prior fiscal year. We generally cannot pay a prior year's invoice from the current budget without authorization from town meeting. This one is for an invoice from FY25. It is a fire department invoice for water bottles that went unpaid because it was sent to the email address of a former employee. And the payment will be funded from the operating budget.
Does the Select Board have a vote?
The Select Board, Carol Barbarian, Town Meeting Member Precinct 7, member of the Select Board. The Select Board voted 3-0 in favor of favorable action.
And the Warrant Committee?
Mr. Moderator, Paul Richter, Chair of the Warrant Committee and Town Meeting Member for Precinct 8, the Warrant Committee unanimously recommends favorable action.
Thank you. The floor is now open for discussion and debate on Article 23. We will have a hand up online, Rosemary Burke.
Hi, Rosemary Burke, Precinct 2. Just for clarification,
are these, can we elaborate on the water bottles? Are these, what are they? Are they reusable or what are they? Thank you.
Town Administrator?
Patrice Garvin, Town Administrator. It's for the water bubblers. If you go to some of the offices in the municipal buildings, you see a water bubbler for the staff and anyone that comes into the building to quench their thirst.
Did you have anything else, Ms. Burke?
No, thank you.
Any other comments or questions under Article 23? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. Mr. Haskell, you may open the voting. So voting is now open. Please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of the motion under Article 23, 2 if you are opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones. Wait for me to recognize you, and if you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized if you need an emergency vote. Julie has been on me for 15 years about this, and I never learned. Ten seconds. We have an emergency. Wait, just wait. Okay. Close that and we'll take the emergency vote. Microphone A.
Leslie Aiken, I vote yes.
Thank you. Any other emergency votes? Seeing none, we'll show the results. Under Article 23, it's 218 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 abstention with 1 yes emergency vote. So Article 23 is adopted. Thank you. So next up, we're going to be taking up Article 25, which is adopt a portion of Alexander Avenue as a public way. Chair Taylor.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. Move to waive the reading of the motion.
We have a second. So I'll take unanimous consent for a waiver of the reading of the motion. Seeing no opposition, it's been adopted. Would you like to make the motion and?
Sorry, what wording, Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large, what wording should I use to
move Article 25?
Thank you. Move Article 25.
A second? Okay. We have a second. Is there a presentation?
Yeah, briefly. Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. So we're back to talk about the path again. And this particularly is about the nubbin of Alexander Avenue between Channing Road and the railroad tracks. The big issue here is that what I've tried to highlight in the plans is owner unknown. And so this was part of the submission designs for the 100% submittal that's been accepted by MassDOT. And in order to complete the path and in order to build the tunnel that would go under the tracks, we need to have the property rights and prove them to MassDOT, I think by the end of July. So some history here, Alexander Avenue, this is from a map of Somerville, Arlington, and Belmont, has been laid out and extends to the railroad tracks. This is as old as 1871. This is a little more recent, was part of the land plan and laying out of the parcels from 1938, where Alexander Avenue extends all the way to the railroad tracks. But as you might expect, the reason we're here today is we can't find the necessary paperwork that proves that it was a public way, that it's been laid out as a public way, that the town adopted it as a public way. And so this is what it looks like today. It's used as an MBTA access to the roadway, where they get up to the railroad tracks to do maintenance and other things. This is from a 2002 street view. And the path is looking to be laid out on the portion of Alexander Avenue that's left of the telephone pole in this photo. So basically where that unpaved access road that the MBTA uses is. And we're working with all the abutters, but especially on Alexander Avenue here to try to minimize the impact, whether it's a business or a residence. And so we're also having give you a sense of how this particular parcel would be used as part of the path. Again, it curves away and uses just what's generally the dirt and gravel access area of this roadway. And we're looking to leave the rest of it as is. But this is also part of our contingency plan. So we're also going to try to bring forth plans that would just use easements rather than laying it out as a public way. But we're coming forward with this article anyway, so that we cover all our bases in case MassDOT doesn't accept those plans or they're not suitable. So I ask you to support this because it means that we can move forward with the path and the tunnel on schedule and get our funding from the state. Thank you.
Does the select board have a vote?
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. The Select Board unanimously recommends favorable action 3-0.
And the warrant committee?
Mr. Moderator, Paul Richter, Chair of the Warrant Committee, Town Meeting Member from Precinct 8. The Warrant Committee recommends favorable action by a vote of 10 in favor, 0 opposed, and 4 abstentions.
Thank you. So we're now ready to, we're opening the floor for discussion and questions on debate on Article 25. We have a hand up online, Ji-Yun Wang.
Jian Huang, Precinct 8. 2 questions. One, are any of the abutters disputing this in any way, claiming that portion of it is theirs?
Chair Taylor.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. Not so far. This would give us permission to do it. It doesn't obligate the town to do it. And also, I've been talking with the abutters, both of them are like parking vehicles and stuff, and they're like, hey, I've been doing this for decades, and we're working with them to accommodate those things and minimize the impact. Because we think this will be, this is both going to remain as the MBTA's access road to get onto the tracks and the right of way, like it is today. Plus, it's also going to be the spur that goes to the underpass that connects to the middle school. If funds were needed for this, then that's part of the other articles that would need to account for that. But right now it's owner unknown because we have no evidence that anybody owns it.
Okay, hand is down. Microphone B.
Corinne McHugh Olmsted, Precinct 1, Town Meeting Member. I guess I have 2 questions. The first is, what steps have been taken so far that resulted in the determination that the owner is unknown?
Chair Taylor.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. So there's been a title search and then trying to find the title for it, and we can't find one. And we also can't find records that it was officially laid out as a public way.
Okay. And then I think a follow-up on your response to the prior town meeting member. At the end of the motion, it says, for the purpose of resolving any matters regarding the title and boundaries of the property to be acquired, and to appropriate a sum of money for the payment of just compensation for said acquisitions. So if this passes, does the select board / town have the ability to then pay whatever is determined to be an amount if someone is determined to need to be, or will you have to come back here again?
Chair Taylor.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. Great question. So we're not appropriating any funds as part of this motion. If funds were needed, we would have to take them from already appropriated or available funds. there are a number of articles that we've been postponing, and I'm sorry that we made you sit through postponing that special town meeting motion because we're working on appraisals. So when it says just compensation, that's a number that is derived from a third-party independent appraisal that is then peer reviewed. So we don't just make it up or wheel and deal. And so if money, we're hoping to have an estimate of what those funds would be. But one of the things that I showed in my last slide is one of our contingency plans, which is where we wouldn't even need to take Alexander Avenue, but potentially just take easements on portions of it. Again, those easements would be against presumably owner unknown.
Okay, Corinne McCulm said Town Meeting Member Precinct 1. So if we approve this, then the Select Board / town has the ability to move forward with eminent domain or a deal and appropriate a sum of money from existing funds. We're basically allowing them to move forward with this, which does seem important, but it's also important to note that we don't know how much this will cost, and we don't know if the neighbors or others have claims on the property.
Thank you. Microphone B, then we're going to go online to Rosemary Burke.
Anne Marie Lambert, Precinct 2. Mr. Moderator, could we see the 1871 map again, please?
Mr. Haskell? There we go.
I noticed a lot of tributaries. Those are rivers, those wiggly lines, I believe. So I just would encourage the town to take that flooding risk into account in the designs. Thank you.
Rosemary Burke on Zoom.
Rosemary Burke, Precinct 2. So if there is a plot plan, going back to that picture, if you could put that picture up again, if there's a plot plan, the other one with the car. Yeah. So you've got a plot plan for the property on the right. You've got a plot plan for the property on the left. There are boundaries. There are boundaries to those properties. How are we going to run into a problem? I understand that there is nobody claiming where the red arrow goes, but how are we going to run into a problem with those two properties on the left and the right who would have boundary lines that do not go into that red arrow area? Is that clear, that question?
Chair Taylor.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. Presumably, if it had to be treated as a private way, then abutting properties would own to the middle center line of that way. We're trying to keep our options open and work with the abutters because, for example, you can't park your cars in the middle of a way, whether it's private or public.
So it could be a private.
Identify yourself, please.
Rosemary Burke, Precinct 2. So it's not clear whether it's identified as a private way. Is that what you're saying?
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large. I think it could be presumed that it's a private way, given that there's no evidence or documentation that it is a public way. If that were the case, the owners of said private way would be entitled to just compensation. So we're both asking for permission to do this. That doesn't change if that goes that route. But then also, like I showed in the last slide, where we're also working on plans to try to bring forward to MassDOT that would give us an alternative that could both save money and provide just using easements rather than declaring it a public way. But your vote tonight would give us permission to go that route as a public way if MassDOT does not accept this alternative plan, because we have submitted 100% design and we need MassDOT's approval, and we need to show to MassDOT has to say, yes, the rights you've acquired to the property are sufficient for the project to move forward.
Well, I know I've had two questions, but I guess
Yes.
Rosemary Burke, Precinct 2, presumably there's a lot line to those two properties. Presumably, there's a lot line.
Well, we're not,
Okay.
those were the two questions, so but I think that was just a statement. Yes.
All right.
Thank you. We're going to take microphone B, then online to Vincent Stanton and Gerard Hovsepian. Microphone B.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Stephen B. Rosales, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 8. So I guess I'm trying to figure out logistically or procedurally how this is going to occur. I know my way a little around land, but don't pretend to be an expert on this type of a thing. But the article or the motion asks for to acquire it by gift. The question, from whom? An option or a purchase from whom? Or eminent domain from whom? Are we just going to decree ourselves the owners of this unknown piece of property? Does it go to land court? What's the procedure? Or perhaps the town council can enlighten us.
Town council?
Or at least me.
Mina Macarius, Anderson and Krieger, Mr. the Town Council. So there's that language is common in any motion when a town is acquiring land to leave all those options open. If you could actually just leave that slide up there, might be helpful. Forget the one. There we go. As Mr. Taylor mentioned, when an owner's unknown on a way, it is presumed that it's a private way and that the abutting landowners own to the center line. So that is a presumption we're working under. That's the presumption that we're working under for the appraisal. Each of the abutting owners, one on each side, would be paid just compensation, would be entitled to just compensation for the portion up to that center line. That's what that blue and green reflect right there, roughly, for what would likely be needed to do the work. If it's laid out as a public way, the same thing. The land being acquired would be from that. The reason it says gift is that either of those landowners are entitled to, they're not forced to, donate their interests in it. The reason it says eminent domain is that the town could also use eminent domain and just pay the just compensation, or could come to an agreement. So any of the above, but this particular article is simply asking if the need, MassDOT insists that it has to be laid out as a public way, that the town can take those steps as well. I would note that in October, when you voted to authorize easements, this whole area was also included. So the town already has the authority to acquire easements, which would be the more limited portion here.
If they decided.
Identify yourself, please.
Stephen B. Rosales, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 8. So if either abutting owner on either side decided they did not want to gift the property to the town, that would obviously imply payment, in which case there would be negotiation. Has any estimate or appraisal of this piece of property for either easement or purchase been made by the town? And if so, what is it?
Mina Macarius, Anderson and Krieger, Town Council. That is what is pending. That is the amount that will be before you next week, along with all the other easements. And their negotiation is certainly permitted, and we're trying to negotiate with landowners. Eminent domain is also allowed, and just compensation will be based on the appraisal, followed by a review appraisal.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Microphone B.
Anne Marie Mahoney, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I rise really with my Nancy Drew hat on a little bit, and I certainly defer to anyone else here with a slightly longer memory than I have. If you can go back to the slide that shows the name Anna Penny. There was land on the Concord Avenue side of the tracks, close to what you're showing here, that was always referred to as the Penny land. That now, I believe, is the softball field. And so I simply offer that piece of information as an avenue of exploration. Was that parcel, maybe even before the railroad tracks, either acquired by the town, given to the town, but certainly something worth investigating? Thank you.
Thank you. Town Council.
Mr. Moderator, Mina Macarius, Anderson and Krieger, Town Council. I want to thank actually Ms. Mahoney and several others who throughout the course of this, including last fall, offered all kinds of information. It is sincerely appreciated. It was all shared with the title examiner doing the work. Unfortunately, I just want to mention why owner is still unknown. The standard when acquiring land for federal and state funded projects is incredibly high, and short of a court order using those facts, they need us to do either a taking or an acquisition. So hence why the assumption for private land, but all that information, again, just as an appreciation, because a lot of people came forward with as much as we could, including that kind of information.
Thank you. We're going to go online with Vincent Stanton, then Gerard Hovsepian, then Emily Peterson. Mr. Stanton.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm one of those, Vincent Stanton, town meeting member, precinct 3. I'm one of those people who communicated with town council. My understanding of this is a little bit different. I view this mainly as a record-keeping problem dating to 1869. That would be 2 years before the earliest map that Select Board Chair Taylor showed. In 1869, the Board of Survey met, and Dick Betts, in his book, The Streets of Belmont and How They Were Named, having read all of the minutes of the Board of Survey meetings from 1859 up until the time that the book was published, he quotes the relevant passage in the book. The selectmen, here I'll just read briefly from his book. The selectmen's records of January 1869 state that, quote, John L. Alexander and 100 others petitioned that Alexander Avenue, so called, parenthesis, a way commencing on Pleasant Street between the houses of J.L. Alexander and James Hartshorn and running southeasterly to the line of the Fitchburg Railroad, close parens, should be continued to some good and convenient point on Concord Avenue and laid out and established as a public highway, close quote. This Betts continues, that was a quote from the Board of Survey meeting in 1869. Now this is Betts opining on that. He continues, the selectmen meeting at the house of M.W. Marsh voted that, quote, the petitioners have leave to withdraw their petition, close quote. So that's the end of what's in Richard Betts's book. My interpretation is that the selectmen agreed with the petitioners that they would take up the proposal to make Alexander Avenue a highway and a town road, in other words, and implement that measure, but they never, their vote or other action to implement that is not recorded in the minutes of the Board of Survey. So I just would add one other thing. I've read the deeds for, let me get this right. Yeah, for 140.
Time is almost up, Mr. Stanton.
For 145 and 159 Alexander Avenue and for 145 Channing Road, none of those properties run to the middle of this segment of Alexander Avenue south of Channing Road. Instead, they run to the, to where the sidewalk starts. So,
Thank you, please.
Okay. Yep, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Beagle winner, ladies and gentlemen. Gerard Hovsepian online. Mr. Hovsepian?
Moderator, Gerard Hovsepian, Precinct 4. I'm just wondering if there's a possibility of either of the property owners on either side of this road to be claiming adverse possession.
Town Council?
Mr. Moderator, Mina Macarius, Anderson and Krieger, Town Council. To the extent that it was a public way, you cannot claim adverse possession against a public entity, so you can't do that. But it's sort of irrelevant because for the purpose of the some of the easements that are being acquired, we are assuming that it is a private road and that the need to acquire it is to the middle. If we were assuming it was a public way, we would have the adverse, we might be worried about that. But essentially, we're assuming that they do own to the center line. So it's sort of a moot point.
Mr. Moderator, may I
Yes.
ask a second question?
Have you identified yourself? Yes.
Yes, Gerard Hovsepian, Precinct 4. Who has been maintaining this road? Has the town been maintaining it, or the abutters?
Town Council.
Mina Macarius, Anderson Krieger Town Council. I do not know for sure, but it is my understanding that the road has been used predominantly by the MBTA to access to go up to the tracks. So I don't know that they're doing any maintenance. I see Mr. Marcotte shaking his head that he has not been maintaining it. I have not been maintaining it, but that's all I can tell you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we're going to go on Zoom to Emily Peterson, then Stephen Evans, then Ellen Schreiber. Ms. Peterson.
Emily Peterson, Precinct 1. I'm curious if the abutters, if they're going to claim that they own the way privately, will they, as part of the negotiation for acquiring the land, will back taxes then have to be paid by the abutters who are now claiming that they might own the property as part of this? I'm just curious if that's a consideration.
Town Council.
Mina Macarius, Anderson Krieger Town Council. I think that presumes that there's typically that the tax would include the rights in a private way, which I don't believe, I'm not sure if those are normally taxed or not. However, for this purpose, if we're acquiring an easement over it, no, because the fee would be remaining with them, and the taxes I do not believe would change as a result of this or be offset against that. I also have no knowledge to say that they have been owing taxes or otherwise. Again, the ownership of this road has not been established as a public way. That's the reason for the authorization.
Yeah, I guess my presumption was that their land.
Identify yourself, please.
Oh, Emily Peterson, Precinct 1. My assumption being that if they were claiming they own to the center of the roadway, their square foot of their land would increase and thus be subject to the amount of land tax that we all pay here in Belmont. So just wondering if that was part of the considerations for this particular negotiation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up online, Stephen Evans, then Ellen Schreiber, then Roger Rubel, then microphone A. Stephen Evans.
Steve Evans, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 6. I move the question.
All right. Do we have a second? All right. I just read who was online. So there are two people online and one person in the room. So the question has been called. It's not debatable. It's a 2/3 vote. So we will go to a vote. The question has been called to terminate debate on Article 25. Voting is now open. Please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of terminating debate on Article 25, 2 if you're opposed to doing so, 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones and wait for me to recognize you. If you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized if you have an emergency vote. Ten seconds. Okay, we close the voting. Now take emergency votes. Microphone A.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I vote yes.
Thank you. Any other emergency votes?
Peg Callanan, Precinct 7, I vote yes.
Yes. Okay, we show the results on the terminate debate. Says 189 in favor, 32 opposed, 2 abstentions with 2 yes emergency votes. So the motion to terminate debate passes. We're now going to move, once we finish scrolling, to a vote on Article 25 itself, which will conclude our substantive work this evening. We'll have to do the Beagle Award, and then we will be adjourning until Monday, June 8th, where we will start by taking up the special town meeting Article 3, and then move into annual town meeting Article 36. We open up the voting under Article 25. So this is the vote. Voting is now open, and please cast your vote. Remember to press 1 if you're in favor of Article 25, 2 if you are opposed, and 3 to abstain. If you have trouble and need to cast an emergency vote, please make your way to one of the microphones and wait for me to recognize you. If you need a microphone, one will be brought to you. Likewise, if you're joining on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand to be recognized. Mr. Eldridge, get ready. Still waiting on Belmont Media. The live stream, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying, it's the live stream, however you may be streaming. It's up now. Okay. 10 seconds. Okay, close the voting, take emergency votes. Microphone A.
Leslie Aiken, Precinct 2, I vote yes.
Yes. Microphone B.
Peg Callahan, Precinct 7, I abstain.
And 1 abstention. Seeing no other emergency votes, can we show the results? Under Article 25, 209 in favor, 4 opposed, 8 abstentions with 1 emergency yes and 1 emergency abstention. The Article 25 is adopted. So next up, Beagle Award. Mr. Eldridge, who's going to draw tonight? Rachel Heller is drawing, and who is our winner? Michael McNamara. Come on down. Mr. Chair Taylor, do we have a motion? We have the adjournment. There.
Matt Taylor, Chair of the Select Board, Town Meeting Member at Large, moved that the annual town meeting be adjourned and continued to 7 p.m. Monday, June 8th, 2026.
Do I have a second? I'll take unanimous consent of that motion. Seeing no opposition, the motion's been adopted. We will see you